What's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and welcome to this conversation today. You know, Coach Gessie's always bringing the knowledge, and today's conversation is one that every woman needs to hear and talk about. And men, y'all need to hear this, and kids who have parents who's a mom, you need to hear this. For real, okay? Because this affects everybody. We're talking about menopause and perimenopause, and what they really are, what they're not. How can we navigate this season of life in power and without panicking? Amen. So, Coach Gessie Thompson, the founder of Detox Now, we're here to have this conversation.
Amen. You know, and this is like real near and dear to me, Angela, because personally, I actually started my journey of holistic health when I hit menopause prematurely, because after battling fibroids for 14 years, I ended up having to have a partial hysterectomy. Well, I was told that that was the only solution I had, where they left my ovaries, so I was not supposed to end up in menopause. But here I was, 44 years old, and literally the wheels fell off. All right. We're talking about sex went from feeling like, how did Halle Berry say it? She said it was like death by 1,000 razor blades. Yeah. That's what it was like. Okay. And I'm like, this can't be. You know? Wow. And I'd been through 5 IVF cycles. So that means I was already had a journey of pumping my body with synthetic hormones in order to stimulate, your hormones for the IVF cycles. And I just said, well, I'm not going to go pump my body with more hormones. I need a natural solution, For some, that may be the way they chose, but I was like, this can't be it. So that really is what started me looking for natural solutions, and my journey to what ended up me founding the Detox Now, because I learned that when I started working on balancing my hormones and getting high healthy levels of D3 levels, that I was able to now enjoy. Enjoy.
That was straight into menopause, or was that perimenopause? Because how do people know the difference?
That's a good, again, so that's why I'm so happy to have our guest today, which are going to be one of my favorite women's health providers, Dr. Peggy.
Oh, yeah, that's my doctor. I got to come back.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for trusting us with your care and for having
this conversation. And you're right across the street from my coffee shop.
Which is very good, by the way.
I was literally, stalking Angela to go to the doctor. I was like, she's right across the street, and she's phenomenal. So that was the first part. She's phenomenal.
Thank you. This is such a needed conversation, and we need to normalize perimenopause and menopause, right? Because every woman will go through this transition. And so when we start the conversations early with our young women, we include our young men and the communities, we start to see a shift in how we deal with, especially women, because women are suffering in silence.
Absolutely.
So how do you know? Like, what is the difference between, so from my knowledge, perimenopause is what happens before menopause.
But it's more gradual, right? So when I went to the doctor, they tested me, because after the hysterectomy, I went to call my GYN and said something's drastically wrong. Like, things have changed drastically. He, tested my hormones. He was like, well, yeah, you're in menopause. It was like I skipped.
So that's how you can test your hormones to know. Okay.
So that's such a good question, because that you don't know with perimenopause, right? And menopause. So menopause is when you've had no period for 12 months. Right. But the perimenopause is that period of time that Coach Gessie's talking about, where you don't feel like yourself and you don't know what's going on. And that can happen anywhere from 7 to 10 years.
Wow.
It is more severe in women of color. And it lasts longer in women of color. And what we're finding in clinical practice is that perimenopause is starting as early as the late 20s.
Now.
And late 20s. And women are going into full menopause in their 30s.
Which is crazy.
Insane. And women will come in and just say, I don't feel well. Something is going on. I don't feel like myself. And they're looking for answers.
I think this is why we need to talk about the myths, right? Because that number one is that people think that it happens overnight.
It does not.
I always hear just like hot flashes.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
It's just that.
People are always like, hot flashes, must be menopause, But let's introduce Victoria, too. Because we got to.
Well, so the reason Victoria is so important, Victoria
Caldwell.
Victoria Caldwell. She's a life and growth strategist and, founder of Team Impress. And here she was finding like her whole life was going upside down, right?
Right, because
Share
like
your
you
story,
said,
Victoria.
Like Angela, you asked, how do you know? Well, I didn't. My nurse, well, I had so many of them come through, said, okay, you're in perimenopause. I'm like, okay. But I didn't feel any different in 2020. And then, the hot flashes came, and I'm like, okay. I heard my mom talk about going through the change, and then that was the only indication I had. And then things started, like, going downhill gradually, and then it just started to just accelerate, and everything was happening all at the same time. And then I'm sitting here like, wait a minute.
What's
like,
everything? Like when you say everything was
well, the hot flashes, the night sweats, the hair thinning. What really topped it off for me was when I got married, and then I started having the frequent UTIs, and then the BV, because they give you treatment, and then the moisture issues, and I'm like, wait a minute, these were not
Wow.
problems
This is
before.
shortly after she got married. her
This is
second
right. I was a
marriage.
newlywed, and
Yep.
it happened immediately.
I remember that call. She was like, Coach Gessie, something's
wrong.
wrong.
I was pinging Gessie all the time, and I was like, this is not good.
And did you discuss with your husband, being newly married, like, I don't know what's going on, or was it something that you felt like, let me figure this out?
Well, it was a little bit, both, because I was kind of, going off the rails a little bit. And so we were just really trying to figure it out, but he's very patient. I was like, you're one. Like, he got patience like Job.
Great.
And he was just really comforting and really, encouraging, like, okay. And I said, they say it's perimenopause, but I don't recall all of this being a part of this. Like, I don't know if this is part of it. And then I started, and you're like, yeah, that's that. I'm like, well, how many more of these things do I have to deal with? And I just, I know you got sick of me probably. But
No, never.
And how old were you at that time when you were going through perimenopause?
Well, I'm still getting there. But,
It could last
but I
a
just
long
don't
time.
feel like it now.
Okay.
I don't
okay,
feel
Yes,
like
come
it
on,
now.
you gotta
That's
get
the
to that.
difference.
Tell them what happened, girl.
I started feeling it 2 years ago. I got married. December will be 2 years. So I started feeling it about 3 years ago. But then I got married 2 years ago, and that's when everything started. And I'm looking at him like, okay. And I know everybody else wanted to say, maybe it's him,
Right.
But I'm like, but the hot flashes are not him. These things.
Right, because you were like, every time you were intimate, you were like,
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And the first UTI, because I never had a UTI. So the first, I had one once years ago. And so I went to I had a fever for 3 weeks. They didn't know what it was.
Jeez.
And that was really bad because they
Yes.
got really, I told the doctor, I said, I think I have a UTI. And he said, you don't. I think he was a little bit crazy too. But that's just my personal opinion because, I mean, it's on the lab results, right?
Yeah.
You can kind of see things.
You cannot tell somebody they don't have
And
one.
I'm like, either somebody please just don't give him a license. But anywho.
And they didn't validate your concern. That's
That
what
was
it is
not
for
it.
me.
And
Right? They didn't
he
validate
didn't
it.
validate it. He invalidated it because I said, I think at this point, because I got tested for COVID, I got tested for the flu. I'm sitting here sick with fevers for weeks and nothing. And when I finally got to a point that I could recognize, the burning or whatever, this is probably a UTI. And it turned out, so by the time they addressed it, they were so scared because of the potential kidney problems that you can speak to better.
From a UTI?
From a UTI.
Yeah.
You could become septic and die from a UTI.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
no, it's serious. That's why I'm saying her having the fever for 3 weeks.
Yes.
So continue, go ahead.
And that was the start of, this was 2 weeks after I got married. So I'm sitting here like, okay, I'm suffering from then. And then the BV, all of this stuff started just coming right after it. And then
They put you on antibiotics.
Put me on antibiotics. And so after one, I'm like, okay, got over that one. And then they came back. And I'm like, why is it coming back?
I remember
Over
that.
and over and over again. So I go to the doctor and I said, they keep coming back. And so he said, what we're going to do, he said, well, we could put you, he said, it's called postcoital. How do you say that word?
Postcoital.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. UTIs. And I was like, is that a thing?
Oh, so that's like when they tell you have to urinate after sex, so
Right.
you get a UTI.
But that didn't even matter.
But that didn't matter. I was,
yeah.
But that wasn't
you
sure.
urinating and pressing
Right.
and
That's not what was going on.
And then you
with
think you might get
Yeah.
BV from your man, like, is he
Yeah.
having it? Yeah.
Because that's what's going on in your
Yeah.
head now. You're like,
you're like, and I'm like, okay. But he told me that, and I said, is there another solution? He said, yeah. He ain't gonna like it. I'm like, so his solution was to take an antibiotic every time you
Oh,
want
no.
to. That was
That
the
is
solution.
ridiculous.
Yeah, no.
And I'm looking at him. He's like, well, you don't have to take it every day, just the days you.
That
And
is
I'm like, do you
crazy.
know how my
Suggest
husband is set up?
that.
Like, really? That's
Oh my goodness, yeah.
like.
this is real, y'all. That's why I said she had to come share her story.
And
Go
he's
ahead.
like, you don't have to take it every day. And I'm like, that's almost what you're saying.
So you don't know what's going on, is what? Yeah.
Basically.
He had no idea.
Oh, didn't
And so
care.
he was just
And didn't care to find out.
So, okay, so what happened after that?
So,
Finally, you reached out.
yeah, I
was
mean,
like,
I was
"Listen."
reaching out the whole time.
But then
and
you told
everything-
me, because I didn't know,
Yeah.
oh, you were having these recurring
Yeah, I told you.
UTIs and all that.
And so, Gessie's so patient. I don't know, because I was really going through it. And she got me some help, and I have not.
Yeah, I sent her the balancer kit. It was
She-
she got
know,
the
I-
balancer kit, which was the hormonal balance
The-
and the D3. I said, what's your D3 level? That was the other
Oh,
thing.
yeah. And I was like, I don't know. So went and got that checked. Got my D3 levels. And they was like, oh, they said they're normal. She was like, what are the levels? And I said, oh, there's 30. She's like, no, that's a
Struggle
low
bus.
normal. She
Yeah.
was
Call
like,
it
you need to
struggle
get it
bus.
to at least 80. And I'm like, 80 is 30.
Yeah,
I'm like,
30 is
that's
low.
That's, and they told me it was normal.
And then in 3 weeks,
Well, from that point, my my D3 levels went to 99.
no, I'm talking about what happened on the journey. Continue on your journey.
Oh my gosh, see, it's so much.
Yeah. You're like, it's so much. I don't even know.
Because
Yeah.
it was just coming at me like right, left, right, left, right, left, and so I went to get my levels checked. That's one thing. And then they said they were normal. Gessie said, no.
So I told you to take about 7,500 IU a day
Yeah,
because we needed to
yeah.
get your number up
Yeah.
quickly, right?
And
Which
then
was
they
15
got-
drops of our bottle.
I got up to 99, and then they told me, okay, stop. And I'm like, but why? Because they're 99. They were like, well, you
Which
can.
was wrong because she needed to lower how much she was taking to 5
Exactly.
drops.
Yeah, that's
But
stop.
at that point, you're balancing your hormones at the same time,
Yeah.
right? So you're on the balancer kit.
I'm
And then
on
what
the
happened?
balancer kit, and after 3 weeks, the hot flashes just stopped.
She was like, okay, this is a good sign.
God is
Yeah,
good.
the-
Vitamin D is very important.
Stopped
Yes.
completely. And my poor friends, because we were in one of these restaurants, and I was like, whew, it's hot in here now. They got sweaters. And I'm like, isn't it hot in here? And they were like, no. And I'm like, they're like, you're just flashing. Because they were used
Man,
to me flashing.
I was in a restaurant with somebody who got a hot flash while we were at the restaurant. She was in the bathroom and she texted me like, can you please bring me some ice?
Wow.
And I went in the bathroom. She was dripping, literally
Wow.
dripping sweat. And she's like, it's a hot flash. It's going to pass soon. You
That's
know,
that we
but
don't-
I felt so bad. I
So
was like,
sad
does
that we're living
everyone
like
get
this.
hot flashes?
No,
I don't think so.
no. So only 70 to 80% of women
That's
get
still a
hot
lot.
flashes.
It's
It's still a lot.
I definitely
Still
experienced them.
yeah,
And that's
hot-
the other thing. I'm always cold. So so when I started, I was like,
Exactly.
what is this?
And
I've
that's
never.
the thing. Most women are like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And it's because we have estrogen receptors all over our bodies. And that helps with thermoregulation. So when your estrogen is declining, your body's unable to regulate your body temperature. And so that's why you feel this heat that's coming from within. And you have the night sweats. Yes. And
It's
you're
like when you
unable-
can't control the heat in the apartment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yo, you got your own heat. And I was like, oh, my husband would know where they're coming. He's like, you're flashing? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll
3
pass.
weeks. So
3
3 weeks,
weeks.
that
and
changed,
3
and then-
weeks. I haven't had a hot flash since. After being on, that was June.
That was
June. I started, because, I'm always testing, just like I do at my work, I have to test. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do the water fast yet. I want to test
Yeah,
it just
you're on
with
the-
all
just
of
the
the
balancing
stuff that's
protocol.
going
That's
in. I
right.
want to test it. I want to isolate the variables. I just want to, because that's how I do in
That
my
water
work.
fast is a
Yes,
commitment to
yes,
it.
So I got to see that this is working
She's
by
done it.
itself.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks, no more hot flashes. I still haven't had a hot flash.
That's great.
And then, you know, because of my other fibroid surgeries, I wasn't regular. Like I always had to take something to go to the bath, you know, to have a bowel movement, to poop regularly. And it just started coming like every day, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, then she's like,
regular.
She's like, I'm pooping.
messages are funny because I get the TMI messages. Hey, I'm pooping.
But that's a big indication.
It's huge.
You know, if
That was
something
big for
yeah.
me because I had to always take something. I'm like, I was buying stuff to take just to make me go regularly.
That's-
And I guess it was from the scar tissue or what. I don't know
also,
what they
no,
tell
just
me.
for the hormones changing
hormones,
your gut.
exactly.
Oh,
The gut
see?
biome is very important. The vaginal biome is important. And going back to your symptoms, you are experiencing genitourinary symptoms of menopause, where you have recurrent urinary tract infections. Women will have recurrent vaginal infections like BV and yeast. And you will also have the painful intercourse and the vaginal dryness because of the loss of estrogen
that's the
in the
next
vagina.
That was the next part. Yeah, talk about
That's
that.
the next
She was
part.
Yes.
She was
Victoria
like,
telling me,
like, Coach Gessie, what lubricants can I use?
Nobody's
Like,
watching this, right?
this is
Yeah, just the world.
It's us. We just talking.
But so I called her. I was like, you know, can you recommend a good lubricant? I've never had that problem before. And she did. But now I don't need that anymore.
Okay.
So
period.
I was telling her, I was like, you know, I don't even need it anymore. But I was going.
using it anymore.
Like, I was like, I don't need it anymore. So,
But you know, I also feel like things like that do mess with you mentally.
yeah.
And in your
Absolutely.
relationship, because it's not just the okay, you know, it makes you feel bad, like
Yeah.
why do I have to do this? Or
And think about it,
Yeah.
also feeling as someone who's newlywed, you're also feeling like,
right.
I'm broken.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh my God, he's having to go through all this.
You got
And
a
then
lemon.
professionally,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm like, I promise you, it wasn't always like
Yes, yes.
And it's not you, boo.
It's not you.
It's not you, boo.
And it's
It's
very
not
hard
you,
for men
and
to
I'm
know
like-
that it's not them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hell. It's
Yeah.
hell because before it was always fine before. And then it's like you said, I gotta live.
This is important
Like,
for
I'm
men
not
to
a living
understand too,
Yes.
because if you're with somebody and they're going through this, you know, it's not you, sir. It's not
Yeah,
anything that you're doing, and she needs to know also, because a
Yeah.
lot of times people just don't know.
That's
They
a
didn't
good thing
know.
because sometimes a man can feel like, oh, is she not aroused by me? And it's
Yeah.
not. It is because of the change in the vaginal pH, right?
Yeah.
And because of the hormones.
And I think it segues to how important it is to bring men into the conversation. And, you know, I recently curated an event, not only educating women, but also educating men and bringing them into the conversation on what women are going through, what the transition's like. And we were able to give some tips in terms of how men can support their partners during this time, including accompanying them to the appointments. So you're hearing firsthand what is going on, and you have the opportunity to ask the questions. Also, having that real conversation. And I think that as couples don't have the real conversations in terms of sex and intimacy and what that is and why you're going through those things. And then also creating a safe comfort station at home. So when your hormones are fluctuating and you're just not feeling well, you have a place where you can have some time to yourself to regroup and to really get in tune with yourself, and then you're ready to address the rest of the world. So men, it's very important, men, to understand this transition, and it doesn't go away. Every woman goes through it.
yeah.
But I can say that, you know, the other thing is once a woman gets a hold of certain things that are triggers in terms of their symptoms, like that can worsen. I think that was a huge piece. Like for me, I knew I didn't want to take, you know, any kind of hormones. And once I got a handle of the D3 deficiency, the hormonal balance, and my stressors, right? Navigating that was a huge piece. And I never found myself in the place where I was in menopause hell anymore, right? And I think for you, what has been the journey for you? Like the UTIs, let's round that back. Did you ever have that again?
No.
So no,
Well,
no
but you know
post-coital.
because I haven't been bugging you.
no post-coital.
No. All good there. All good there. We're good.
I know he's like, we're back.
We're back. No. We're good now. But I knew it was I knew something was off, and I just wasn't getting the answers. And you, because I didn't know. You was like,
Right.
how do we know?
Yeah.
We don't. We just.
And perimenopause can last for
20 years.
Yeah,
What you
7
talking
to
about?
10 years. It's more
7 to
severe
10
with
years.
women of color. And it's that in-between time where it can mimic a lot of other chronic conditions.
Yeah.
So you're going to so many different specialties and they may not know what's going on. So I always tell women it's important to rule things out.
Yep.
And make sure that there's nothing else going on, and where perimenopause is a diagnosis of exclusion. It's a clinical symptom.
Right.
And also during this time, women can develop chronic conditions, they could become insulin resistant, where they become pre-diabetic or has diabetes or high cholesterol. And the thing is that weight gain that they get,
Yep.
and they haven't changed their diet, and they feel lost.
Yeah.
And it's up to us as healthcare providers to provide an integrative, personalized approach to really addressing the concerns that these women have.
It's
And,
true.
you know, because you brought up another point where providing that, because when I was talking to you about my healthcare professionals, you know, treating it as if it was something, you know, as if it wasn't that serious.
Yes.
Like, oh, this is just normal. And it's like, okay, but
Like,
I'm
because it's
suffering over here.
normalized. It's,
Right.
it's very similar to how it's been normalized for women to have heavy
heavy
periods.
periods, right? When that's
It's
an
been-
indication
and then
something.
Something you said, which was so important, which was that it mimics other symptoms that can be, you know, consistent with other conditions. And when we talk about Black women experiencing them worse, well, two of the key things that are drivers, well, guess what? D3 deficiency is actually prevalent amongst people of color because of our melanin blocking the absorption of the sun. We talk about that all the time because
Right.
if we're more D3 deficient, right? And then even, this is really important if you're listening, if your doctor tells you that your D3 is normal, 90% of the women that when I talk to them and their doctors say, oh, they said my D3 is normal, I say, the next question I say, well, what is your number?
I
And
got
then-
that question.
And then guess what? When you told her it was 35, and that's what I call struggle bus D3.
Right.
Struggle bus is you're not going to make it through menopause, fibroids, all those
Any
things.
condition.
Because D3, it's a superstar. It deals with hormonal balance,
It's very
chronic,
important.
reduces chronic inflammation. It helps with your immunity, strengthening your bones, cardiovascular protection.
Just overall
Huge,
health and wellness. Yeah.
huge.
Right.
So if we're being miseducated when it comes to D3 being something that disproportionately affects us as people of color, we are now at higher risk, and we're dealing with more severe symptoms because of that one thing.
Right.
And then of course there's the trauma of racism and other things that we
Right.
deal with that cause us to deal with
Absolutely.
more hormonal imbalance and more chronic inflammation, right? Because we're more stressed.
How important is also physical activity when it comes to
Strength
perimenopause
training
and
is
menopause?
more important than aerobic when it comes to menopause.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell women to move.
Yeah.
I think it's important to move during this time, and it's good for our bones. Losing our estrogen is very, very detrimental to our bones,
Yeah.
and it can lead to bone loss. So I always say, you know, you can walk inside your house if you're unable to get to a gym, but you have to move. Weight training, it's very important because it also releases properties to bring down that insulin resistance.
Yep.
And
Muscle
it is
building.
absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be weights. It can be, you know, calisthenics. It could be,
Push-ups.
cycling.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just
it could be
push-ups.
cycling. It could be rowing. You know, I like to row. I have a rower at home.
Because even going through this, people gain weight. A lot of us gain weight, and we're like, we cannot get this weight off. It's
And they think that aerobic activity is I'll do more aerobic. No, do more strength training. That actually is going to target it better, actually, when you're going through the hormonal changes.
Especially in the midsection, because that's where, because again, it's the redistribution of fat that happens from the decline of estrogen. And to your point, you know, resistance training is really going to help calibrate that midsection. And then also nutrition.
Yes.
That
Oh my
is
goodness. Anti-inflammatory
extremely,
diet is so
extremely
important.
important.
Yep.
And I always stress the antioxidants, how important that is in your diet.
Omegas.
Yes, the vitamins A, C, and E. And it's not just one thing. And we were discussing, I wish it was one thing throughout this transition, but it's
Right.
not. It really
and
isn't.
And it's the same thing with
pill.
women's
Yeah.
health. I think it's never just one thing, right?
never
Whether
one
it's
thing.
fibroids or endo,
Yes.
perimenopause, menopause, it isn't one thing because it really is like lifestyle so affects how it shows up in our lives.
what are some things we should look for to know that, like, okay, this could potentially be menopause or perimenopause?
First, listen to your body. Women know what's going on with themselves. When it comes to perimenopause, between irregular periods, irritability, moodiness, you're snapping at people a little bit more, brain fog, you're not remembering things. I get patients who come in that says, I've been doing the same job for the last 10 years, but I still can't just get it together. Insomnia, waking up at that witching hour between 2 and 4 in the morning.
And that's connected to D3 too.
Absolutely.
Right? Huge. So it makes it worse or better depending on that.
And also not, palpitations.
Yeah.
Some women may think they're having a panic attack or a heart attack, ringing in the ears. You don't really usually think about that.
You know what is one that I found? Is
That
snoring.
one too?
Snoring.
Yes.
People think, I just all of a sudden started snoring. Well, that actually is connected to perimenopause too.
Absolutely.
It's like it's not. It's so whole body that you don't realize. You're like, I'm just aging. I'm just getting fat. I'm just you don't have to suffer through it. I think that's the joy of it, is that we don't have to suffer through it. We can actually reclaim our joy by getting the right support, getting in the right community, and understanding like, okay, my stressors, my balancing my hormones, my nutrition. And it doesn't have to feel overwhelming.
No, not at all. It takes a couple of appointments sometimes. And I sit down with patients and we go through their symptoms, and it's shared decision making. I want you to feel empowered to make the decision about your health. So we talk about all the treatment options, and then we talk about what do you feel is best for you, and to know that you're supported with whatever decision you make. And sometimes we may need to pivot.
Yep.
We may start one thing and then pivot to another, but it's very important to know that there are options and treatment options out there, management, and you do not have to just bear with it. That's like the bane of my existence when women are saying, I just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I just
We're
more.
so acculturated to it though,
Exactly.
because the world out there is just like you're just going through the change. So that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah,
You know
they're
what I mean?
so dismissive.
And I think with men, something that came up, I think, was the fact that helping them understand that intimacy doesn't always just have to be, like sexual in that time.
No.
Right? It can also just, because if you're adjusting, if you're finding yourself in that place, the communication is the key.
Absolutely. And I give women tips all the time when it comes to intimacy, because most often women come in and they're like, listen, I love my partner, I'm still attracted, but I just physically don't feel like I want to engage in
The arousal part.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And you have to see what works for you and your relationship, and to know that it's okay.
Right.
It is okay not to be okay. And then we talk about different tips and resources that will help them get through this time.
Awesome. I want to wrap up, Victoria. How did this affect you professionally as well? Because I know we talked about personally. Because a lot of women don't acknowledge the fact that they're at work and they are suffering, and it's just supposed to be okay.
Right. Some of the stuff I'm learning here, and I've learned through you, that like the brain fog, like the forgetting stuff, I know very well. And I'm like, wait a minute, like just my clarity on things that I just couldn't I've gotten more done in the last few months than I've done in the last 18 months in terms of just the momentum and my ideas are so much better. My execution is so much better. But I didn't even realize that was part of it too, because I'm sitting here, like she said, ringing in the ears. And I'm like, is that too? Now, that wasn't as frequent, but I had it. I'm like, where is that coming from? But I might have had one or two, but it was uncommon.
How do you deal with that in the workplace then? Because it's one thing to have a conversation with your significant other. It's a whole nother thing at work to have to explain to.
That's a good
Absolutely. So there is a movement now where the Menopause Society has put out a guidance for workplaces to adopt a menopause policy where, and it has different things to support women during this transition. Also is seen as, you can have FMLA with menopause because you need that time. It could be something as, keeping the temperature in the office down.
Okay.
It could be as simple as that, or having a respite room for a lot of these women to, and then also not making them feel bad or pointing out certain imperfections or when the work is not getting done as swiftly as before. So there is a guidance, and I've spoken to many organizations regarding what HR can do to help support their employees going through this. And I implore the employers out there to really look at this policy, because your employees, it's going to make a difference, and they need to know that they're supported not only at home but at work.
We got to make sure we keep on continuing these conversations, because
Yes.
it's important. Because like you said, we're all going to go through this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we can do it one or two ways.
Yeah.
Suffering or
We're going to
winning.
do it because we're going through it. Y'all going
Go
through
through
it.
For
Yeah,
sure.
that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank
story.
you. Thank you. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful. Thank you so much for allowing
And
me
I'm just
to
grateful
come.
that
appreciative.
you living on the other side of it now.
Thank
Oh
you for
yeah,
sharing
oh
your
yeah,
story.
and I'm really excited because
and
we
she
just
did the water
finished. We just
fast,
did
too.
the water fast, and I've done it twice, but this one I think I did more in the 7 days than the 14.
Okay. That's
Because I did
good.
the 14 2 years ago, and then I did the 7. And so I'm just really,
She was like, I'm getting so
excited.
much done. I feel so mentally clear.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of stuff done now.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I feel good. And, I'm still going to continue. You don't treat people in South
I
Carolina.
know.
Yeah,
Having
I know.
having a physician who listens to you
Yes.
like this. Big up to Dr.
Yeah,
Peggy.
thank you.
Who
And
cares, who doesn't feel like it's only one way and will support you.
Absolutely.
Whichever
And
choice
She sounded
you make.
Dr. Peggy sounded the alarm. 2 small fibroids we
That's
found.
right.
And Coach Jessie's like, what are we doing?
Let's do it. Let's get it started.
And to
Getting
my
on the
fellow healthcare providers out there, we have to listen to women. We have to listen and be able to support them through this transition. And I can't stress the importance of an integrative, personalized approach, because we may have recommendations, but we have to listen to what is going to work well for that patient, and to also be culturally competent when we're doing it as well.
Ooh, that part.
Yes.
All right, but where can people find everybody here?
So you can find us at Trust Women's Healthcare. We have physical locations in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and Deer Park, Long Island. We're on all social media platforms at Trust Women's Healthcare, and we are at 929-78-TRUST.
And if
Awesome.
you are waiting for your appointment, you could right to the cup right across
Which
the
is
street.
right across the
Coffee
street.
shop.
Yes.
Tea or some
Yes.
coffee while you
Absolutely.
wait.
Yeah.
And the Victoria.
And I'm at teamimpress.com, and I'm helping leaders lead better, not stress themselves out, scale without burnout, and not stress their teams out as well, and create the conditions. The very same things that we talk about. We address the stress and everything from a performance. So sustainable high performance for the leaders, the teams, and the cash flow as well.
And
Love
Coach
that.
Jessie, the detox now.
Yes. We love y'all. Thank you for always.
Thank you.
Yes,
prioritizing
thank you
these
so much.
This is always an important conversation for us to continue to have. So I thank you guys for making time today.
Thank you for having us.
It's way up.
Now
Way up.
I'll be sharing my other updates later.